So, welcome to this episode of Ken Morgan's Street Brain Radio. I am now walking near Yurakucho in Tokyo, and this is where I actually ran the last mile of the Tokyo Marathon yesterday. So, when I came to this place, I was reminded of the really dire state of mind, and you're hearing the train noise now. It was really hard to run that last mile, but anyway, I could run the full marathon thanks to the excellent support of the organizers and officials and volunteers and so on, and of course the spectators hearing us from the street, and so it was a really wonderful opportunity. If you are a runner, you should really consider coming and participating in the Tokyo Marathon. Anyway, today I would like to talk about the significance of running, long distance running in particular. And it seems to be in the nature of man to run long distances, and the so-called persistence running is considered to be one of the forms that our ancestors took to capture prey. For example, in some part of the world, a prey would be able to run faster than humans. And before the advent of modern technology such as automobiles, we couldn't, catch up with the prey we were chasing. So that it said that man would keep chasing these animals for hours or even days on end, so that the animals would get tired and finally give up and get captured. And this is an interesting idea because it tells us a lot about the nature of human beings. We are good at persistence running for a long distance, and of course probably this is related to Anja Duckworth's concept of grit, which is said to relate to success in academic performance and financial success and social achievements better than the so-called personality traits or in general, or intelligence measures such as IQ. So it is certainly an interesting idea. One of the characteristics of man might be the ability to pursue some quest for a long time, and sometimes for years, but sometimes even over generations. For example, the speech by President Kennedy to reach the moon within the decade was achieved with the Apollo 11 space program, and that was a really great achievement, and that was a great leap for humankind. But that is only a tiny piece in the whole jigsaw puzzle of human activities. And now Mr. Elon Musk is trying to reach Mars, and Mr. Elon Musk is part of the continuation of our will to explore the outer space, and this has been the consistent intentionality of the human species, and that is something really interesting. And if you look at corporations, nowadays it is customary to state its purpose, and you would say that the purpose of this conversation is to serve customers in such a way, and so on. And it is quite interesting that with that kind of statement, you are actually committing yourself to long-term goals which would persist for days and years and decades, and your life or lives would be defined by it. So this is a very interesting aspect of human nature, and the ability to go back to whatever you're doing in the long run is very interesting characteristic of the human species. And so, for example, in your day, you would be active for example, 8 hours a day, and otherwise you would be doing other activities, taking a sleep, eating, taking a bath, and other miscellaneous things. So if you look in terms of physical time, then your days would be fragmented, and there's no one single continuity of sessions. So what you do is actually to go back to what you were doing originally after intermissions of bath taking, eating, sleeping, and so on. Actually, I'm now walking alongside a train track called Yamanote Sen, and it's one of the major circular rail tracks in Tokyo. And you can hear the sound of an express train, I think. And well, this is the heart of Japan's train land. And if you're a train spotter, then you would be enthusiastic about coming here and watching all these trains going to and fro. Anyway, as I was saying, so it's quite different from artificial intelligence systems. Artificial intelligence systems are engaged in one thing for a long, long time, but they never get tired of it. I mean, for example, if you are programming artificial intelligence system focused on what is this? Oh, there's actually a concert going on. It's really extraordinary. I am on the street, and for some reason or another, there's a concert going on. It is close to 3 p.m. So strange time of the day to have a concert going on, especially under the rail track. This is weird. Anyway, so this is kind of a disruption, isn't it? I mean, I was talking about one thing, but then I was disrupted and distracted by another. But then I go back to what I have been doing in the first place. So this is quite a typical human activity style. And I'm actually passing through the headquarters of TEPCO, Tokyo Electronics Power Company, which became famous for the nuclear power plant accident in Fukushima in 2011. We were actually approaching the 12th anniversary of that incident, and of course the Great Eastern Japan earthquake that preceded it. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, so it's quite interesting that human beings are able to be disrupted and led astray, but then go back to what you're doing, what you have been doing. And that is the secret of the success that human beings have enjoyed, both individually and as a species. And when I was running in the Tokyo Marathon yesterday, now I'm coming back to the actual physical running, I was kind of reminded of the fact that, I have been running ever since my childhood. Although I was not really athletic, persistence running was something that I love to do. And I'm still doing it today. And, so I have been running in the Tokyo Marathon for maybe 5-6 times now. And it has always been a pleasure to do that. And, so it's a really mysterious side of humanity, I think. This ability to commit oneself to something for long periods of time. And it'll be interesting to explain this in terms of brain circuits. Obviously, when you are committed to something within a specific time frame, you'll be doing that using your prefrontal circuits, and working memory would be involved in that. And because you need to invoke your working memory system every time you do that, that memory setting information needs to be incorporated, imported from somewhere else in the brain. Most probably the temporal cortex, temporal associative cortex. And so each time you wake up and you start your day and you go back to your pet subject of what you have been doing, there will be a transfer of information from temporal associative cortex to the prefrontal cortex, where the working memory is handled. So that's how you start your day again and continue what you've been doing. And that's one way of persistence running as a metaphor in your life. And that is what makes us human. So if human life was a totally random affair with dice thrown each day, and we do a completely random activity, then life would be completely different from what we know it to be today. We really are what we are because of this ability to go back to what you are committed to do. So this persistence is very interesting, and in that, it's always interesting to see that you are actually sometimes, led astray from the thing that you have been doing, from time to time, and then you might feel guilty about it, when you are committed to do something, and you are, distracted by something, then you might feel guilty, but that's okay because, you can go back to what you've been doing or anytime, and when you do that, the time that lapsed between the last session of your commitment would be cancelled out. So it is as if that you have been doing the thing continuously for all the time, because as far as your work is concerned, it doesn't really matter whether you have abandoned the cause for any period of time. So it is very interesting that people say that life is like a marathon. It is like a marathon in that you keep doing what you're doing for a long time, and once you get a really interesting project which is open-ended, then it'll be quite interesting to to pursue that. I have been studying neuroscience and in particular consciousness-related fields of research for a couple of decades now, and I am happy to have been doing that. Of course, I have been distracted by many things, and I haven't been always, dedicating myself, so to speak, to the question of consciousness. But I do keep doing that, and whenever I have the time or I have the space, I return to that, and I never abandon that as my main line of pursuit. So that makes my life a kind of a continuous marathon running in terms of making my life arena where you keep doing something for a long time, and although you are disrupted, you do it anyway. You keep doing it, and it seems to me that life is about finding something that you can run a marathon for. It might be your business, it might be your hobby, it might be some personal relationships, it might be something that would make money, or it might be something that doesn't. Oh, now that's the steam locomotive sound from. I'm walking in front of the Shimbashi station. So if you listen to my Street Brain Radio program, you can get to listen to my talk. In addition to the occasional street noise in Tokyo, that's the whole purpose of this program. So it's fun. So please do return to my Street Brain Radio. I think I am now coming to pachinko parlor display. They are saying that they should beware of those who would try to get you go to bar or restaurant called kyakuhiki in Japanese, and so I'm now passing through in the front of pachinko parlor. Anyway, pachinko parlors are ubiquitous in Japan, but not so popular probably with the younger generations, but used to be the king of hobbies. And I don't actually go to a pachinko parlor, but many people do, and that has been really flourishing industry. Technically not gambling, but in essence it is. It's something like many things in Japanese culture. I mean, in the gray area. It's not technically something, but it's in practice that thing. So pachinko parlor is legally not gambling, but in practice it is. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so in your life, I think it will be great to find something that you can run a marathon for, and that's the most important marathon that you can run in your life. I mean, I ran the Tokyo Marathon yesterday, but that was great. But it's not that single important thing in my life. I mean, I have many other marathons. I have my pursuit of the consciousness studies, and I also write books. I am committed to some long-term goals, and one of them is, of course, express my ideas freely in lingua franca of English, which I'm trying to do clumsy. So as I have been saying, this Street Brain Radio is a poor man's answer to the Lex Friedman podcast. And I don't have any facilities, I don't have any staff, I don't have any social connections. I'm based in Tokyo, so I am doing this all on my own. Because this is a poor man's answer to Lex Friedman's podcast. Anyway, I am nothing personal to Dr. Lex Friedman. I'm just a random guy from Tokyo, but I'm doing this as my long-term commitment towards expressing my ideas, if I may, in the lingua franca of English. So this is a marathon that I'm running. And probably this is much more significant than the actual physical marathon that I ran yesterday. Although it's something fun to do. Wow. Running the Tokyo Marathon is no great personal achievement. Of course, Ken Mogi's Street Brain Radio is not a great achievement. It's if you say that, you will be a laughing stock. But it is something that I do. So I think this is very important to realize that, when you are committed to something, the gradual change that you go through every day is very important. It's like the organic growth of a plant, vegetation. Each day it changes its constitution of the body. Stalk, leaves, and buds, ever in a slight way. But when enough time passes, then there might be some series of quite drastic changes in the plant's body, right? I mean, so that's what I hope to achieve with me each day of my life. I try to do things that would change me or my relationship with the world at large in such a direction that accumulated they would amount to hopefully significant change in the direction that I am hopefully navigating my life to. So, it's a marathon. Every day of my life is a marathon. And I'm saying this because, I suspect that it is the state of affairs for many people listening to this Solid Brain Radio. Your life is a marathon. In it, you try to change your status quo ever so slightly every day, so that as time passes, you would be changed in a way that you would like yourself to be changed. In the Tokyo Marathon yesterday, I was a bit overweight. In the last couple of runs, I always try to reduce my body weight to something like 75 kilograms. I'm normally 81, 82 kilograms, but in the run-up to the marathon, I typically lose weight so that I will be weighing something like 75 kilos, which is still overweight. It's my body mass index is over 25, and so I'm not obese, but I'm kind of overweight. If I wanted to make my body mass index a standard in the standard range, probably I would have to have a weight of something like 70 kilograms or even less than that. So I will have to reduce my weight by 10 kilograms at least. And so, when I'm running in the marathon, I'm typically reducing my weight halfway toward that goal. So reduction of 5, 6, 7 kilograms and, weighing about 75 kilograms. But in this particular race that happened yesterday, Tokyo Marathon 2023, on the morning, I weighed 81.6 kilograms. So that's really overweight. Last year I was kind of lazy also, so I weighed on the morning about 78 kilograms. That was a bit overweight, but this year I was even more overweight. And to tell you the truth, I don't feel like reducing my weight really seriously. I mean, I go about my life doing this and that, and when you try to reduce your weight, you will probably skip some meals and you feel hungry for some hours, and some people say that it's good for your health. But I don't feel, I somehow didn't feel that I would have to do that this time. For some reason or another. I don't know why. I mean, I probably didn't feel that it was something that I need to do at this stage of my life and for this once. And probably I will be starting reducing my weight again. But so yesterday, the truth be told, I was overweight, technically overweight. And so I was having my doubts whether I would be able to run the marathon to the last, going through the goal. But I could do that, but I did it with a struggle. I sometimes walked instead of ran. And, I actually combined a strategic run and walk and run process. And, I would save my energy. I would, kind of ease my leg muscles by walking for some distance. And for example, when there was an upward slope, I would simply walk and, just take it easy for some time so that my leg muscles would be restored, and my overall energy would be, back to normal or close to normal. So that's what I did. Now I'm coming to a place where I need to climb what the Japanese call Hodokyo, a pedestrian bridge. This is something that when the governor was Minobe, he was a left-wing liberal governor, and he thought at the time that the best way to protect the pedestrians from the car was to make a bridge specially designed for pedestrians. So I am actually climbing the stairs now. After the full marathon yesterday, I feel a bit stretched out and I feel the pain to carry the weight that is me. But this is the legacy of the Minobe governor of Tokyo. And yeah, he was a left-wing governor, and he left a scar in many things, including the idea that school will be grouped, and there was a lottery to admit pupils into respective schools. Before Minobe, there was this Hibiya High School, and Hibiya was a really prestigious high school. So people who went to Hibiya went on to the University of Tokyo in hundreds. But then Minobe came along, and he had this left-wing liberal ideas about education, so that Minobe made the selection process kind of a random one, depending on lotteries. And because of that, the popularity of the Tokyo metropolitan government backed high schools plummeted. I remained silent for a few seconds because there was one guy coming upwards from the opposite direction, so I didn't want to sound too strange. Of course, I am already strange, but I don't want to sound too strange, so I stopped for 5. Anyway, so I came to what they call Italian district. I should say that this idea to make a part of area near Shiodome, an Italian featured place, was a dud. I mean, it didn't really go well, I have to say. And I'm not too critical in this. I think that's the assessment of many people. Sometimes, city planners make mistakes. And this has been a sad mistake. But I like this area because there's not so many people. Yeah, I like an area where there are not so many people. It can be helped, and probably the residents here would love this. I mean, in Tokyo, a rare spot where you wouldn't be seeing many people. It's a luxury. It's called Italia-gai, Italian district. So if you are looking for a quiet place to hang around, maybe you should come to Italia-gai. It's really great. There are so few people. Anyway, so that was another distraction. So I think, in life, it's very crucial to have a marathon session. And I'm actually going to a coffee shop, and I was checking on my Google map where I should be going. The thing with the iPhone recording application is that it's not so great, but it's so simple, so you can use it while you're looking at the Google map. Well, you can do that with any application, but the iPhone native recording app can do that. So that's good enough for me. So yeah. So yeah, I was a bit overweight. Now we are coming back to my actual Tokyo Marathon run. So I actually really had to, pace myself when I ran the marathon, walking, running, and uphill I walked, and it was like your life. I mean, in your life, sometimes you are feeling great, sometimes you are not feeling great, but you proceed. I mean, you keep going. That's right, and that's how you actually make your day, every day of your life, by keep doing things that would be great for you, in a way, ever so gradual manners. It's really important that you do this every day of your life. And the thing is, whether the incremental change is in your favor or not. I mean, this is the single parameter, important parameter that you need to be taking care of. Whether your incremental change is in favor of you or not. Because sometimes you lose track of your life. I mean, because things only change gradually. You times of despair. And now I'm in front of the Shiba fire station. It's a really stylish, wonderful, beautiful fire station. Yeah, it's a fire station, all right, but it looks like a film set. It's really beautiful, and so the incremental change that is brought about in your life, is it for the better or for worse? That's the only measure that you need to be watching in your marathon of your life. So I watch it. I am always watching my incremental changes over the days, and I try to do my best to make it as best as I can. And that's advice I give it to young students and pupils, and because they are sometimes in despair because things are not going their way. But if ever so slightly, ever so gradually, things are going their way, and like improvement of things, then it's okay. I think that's the most important thing that you can look for in your life, in your marathon. So that's what happened to the Tokyo Marathon. To me, in the Tokyo Marathon yesterday, I sometimes walked, but as long as I was making progress, as long as I was, approaching the goal, I was not in despair. I was really hopeful. I was really full of, dreams of, crossing that goal line eventually. And I did that. So I think that's a great metaphor for life. To make a progress, to make a very incremental progress, but approaching the goal, whatever it is, inches by inches, and coming back to that after distractions, after hallucinations, after mind wanderings, you should really come back to your original course, and that would make your marathon successful. So I'm now coming to a coffee shop that I wanted to go, and probably I will be shutting up pretty soon. But I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Street Point Radio. To sum up, life is a marathon. You might be distracted, you might be led astray, but each time you become a randomized person, exposed to the elements of the universe, you should always come back to what you really are, because by coming back to your true self, you can hope to make that very incremental change towards your ultimate goal. And that is what makes your life marathon significant and sustainable. Thank you for listening.